they try to optimize the service for where you live. So they try to
Yeah, we have that done with grounds and city. That was a regular monthly meeting. I see through the whole. How long did that take?
All right, good afternoon, everybody. This is a cluster advisors meeting that was the board like set up to answer a few questions and get things lined out for you for the upcoming changeover for Spectrum, the new contract, and also the budget. And what we'd like to do first is, before we get into the Spectrum, if you don't mind, we're going to get into the budget real quick. I have the budget chairperson right here, Tom Pench. The good news is there's only one basic increase in the the maintenance fees this year, for 2019. And that's the $10.80 for Spectrum.
Per month.
Okay? Okay? Then everything else is staying the same. So basically, you're only going up $10.80 per month. The budget, every committee had submitted their requests as far as landscaping, and we found out yesterday that security's going to drop a bit. Keep in mind that the budget is a fluid document. There's changes made all the time on it. As much as you like to see it set in stone, but it's virtually impossible because the first of the year starts in January, and
Chair up front.
everything starts
No, up there.
to fall into place with discounts and things like that before the budget goes into effect. That being said, I'd like to introduce Tom Pench and thank him on behalf of the Board of Directors and the Association for their arduous work on putting the budget together. Tom, you got the floor. Does everybody have a copy of your budget? The proposed budget? Okay. You will be getting it sent out in the mail next month.
Well, I want all these advisors to have them.
Yeah, so if there's any
If you don't
questions,
have it, please raise your hand.
and along with that is the Spectrum question and answer. So with that, Tom, you got the floor. Thank you very much.
So, in essence, like John pointed out, there's going to be an increase based purely upon the cable contract. The big thing to note, though, is that, as I understand it, the internet that you're getting now would be free, you know, up to a certain speed, right? Okay. And then you also get 2 boxes for free. Right now you only get 1. So there's going to be savings personally on your end of it because you won't have to pay Spectrum. I don't know who, most of you probably use Spectrum, right? And so I don't think you might have to pay them at all at some point, I would suspect, unless you get a 3rd box, which is how much?
Well, we're going to go into
Yeah,
Spectrum.
okay,
We'll go into
okay, all right. Anyway, but anyway, like I said, so we got it so that there was no increase in the budget except for the relative to the cable contract. And like John pointed out, it's basically $32.40 for the quarter added. So whatever your fee is, you're gonna add $32.42. But
There'll be a cover letter that goes out with it that basically explains just what Tom said, along with the fact that there are minor increases in water, sewer, cable, and some other issues, but through the use of the committee's finding money through the surplus funds, we're able to keep everything balanced.
we were fortunate to have some money in the surplus, so we're gonna use that for this year. Okay, so.
Okay.
So if you get questions, just tell them it's basically the same except the cable, and then because of the cable and the internet, there'll be savings in their own pocket, totally.
And because we were so frugal and careful with spending your money is the reason why we had a considerable amount of savings in the surplus this year. We were able to use that to supplement the budget for next year. And my personal goal is to continue with that, and I know the Board of Directors favor the same feelings as I do. I would be remiss if I didn't introduce Elaine Johnson. Otherwise, she'd be knocking on my door later on yelling at me if I didn't introduce your chairperson for the cluster advisors, Elaine Johnson.
I would like all the cluster advisors to stand up, if you don't mind, and tell what village you're from and what cluster you are helping us out.
Barnes cluster E231 is mine, and I'm in Sherwood Village.
You're-
I don't even know. I know I live in Sherwood. Yeah, but like, what am I doing?
Cluster D.
Cynthia Ingram, D.
Yeah, that's who you are.
Thank you.
And this lady
I'm
right
gonna
here
give you
I knew the
a.
I.
Sorry, but,
has volunteered to run the fall festival and
yeah,
volunteered
so
to be a
don't base
social
that tonight, Dan. I can come for the job.
Josephine Woodlawn, Cluster U.
Deb Harder, Oakview, Cluster V.
Sharon Pollock, Cluster I.
Betty Wade, Cluster M.
Iris Green, I'm in Oak, I think it's Y.
Good.
Morris Roberts, and that's cluster N.
Yvonne Zambrano, Palm Tree, Cluster K.
Edith Strite, cluster L, Palm Tree.
Kay Bass, Cluster P, Lakeside Drive. Hattie John, Cluster F, Sherwood.
Tom Watson,
Patty is
Cluster
here.
A.
Roger Schultz, Cluster B, Pinehurst.
Okay,
No, we got.
One last one.
go right ahead.
Marv Shepherd, Cluster F, Lakeside 4, 9. Excuse me.
All right.
Thank you. Thank all the cluster advisors.
Yeah, I gotta go with Elaine here. I wanna thank all the cluster advisors, because without you, we couldn't do what we do without you getting the information out to the owners and everything like that. It does, who said it? Was it Barbara Bush that said it took a village? Well, it takes 7 villages in our association to get things done around here. Because of you folks, that it really is successful. We've had a very, past 5-6 years, we've been very, very successful in what we do. Okay. That being said, I'm sure you're all here to beat Doug Kelly to death and find out what's going on with Spectrum. But please, let's not adjudicate individual cases. I'm sure Doug is going to cover how to get that resolved today. Okay, we are aware of some problems in the area, and we are addressing them. But I'd like to introduce Doug Kelly. He's our account representative for that we hired to take care of our contract with Spectrum. Doug, you got the floor, pal. Good luck.
Hey, thank you. I guess I better follow
Let me get out of the way.
up with that to remind everybody I am not a Spectrum employee. Okay, I'm an individual agent that represents associations in the negotiations of their cable service agreements. I do it in Sarasota and Manatee County, and I come from a background of actually representing the providers for over 20 years. So I work with John many years, going back 20 years on this stuff when I was a Time Warner manager, then a Bright House person, then a Spectrum person. So I'm not responsible for that rate increase. I am responsible for it being as low as it otherwise could have been. I'll take credit for that. I'm responsible for basically the package that you're going to have rolled out starting on the 1st of November. Is everyone aware what's in the package? So it was kind of just covered here, but it is the what they call the Platinum service. There's lineups that have been handed out. I think Catherine has additional lineups, but it's the Select TV, Digital Tier 1, and Digital Tier 2 make up the Platinum package. So it's really the kind of similar to what you have, but a lot more robust. There's a lot more product in there. I just got a proof from Spectrum yesterday of the same lineup where they've added another 10 or 11 channels to it. So it's growing, if you will, of adding more HD content, because you just went through the digital transition, right? Everyone got through that okay? A question for you, is your lineup still similar to what you had before, after the train, or is it a lot different? It's all the same, okay. That's the way it was. That's the way it was supposed to happen, because you're currently on Bright House's, Legacy Bright House Network's premier lineup, which was your bulk. So all they were supposed to do was encrypt the unscrambled channels, transition the analog channels to digital, and kind of leave them where they already were. Some of them they moved, I think. Some of them they eliminated, but you know, in a matter of a couple of weeks, you're going to move it to the new bulk line, the new service lineup. I believe that the Q&A, if everyone has one of these, it was sent to everybody. That look familiar? So hopefully that answers most of your questions. So you know, I can address anything that you're not aware of. But I know she had a question about what's the difference between
That's a pop quiz.
a pop quiz. Oh, that's the pop. Well, you have to give the information to give the quiz.
This is testable material, though.
Don't call before
Yes.
November 1st.
What's the internet speed going to be?
Okay.
I didn't see that already.
Yeah. The question is, what's the internet speed going to be? The way that the documents define it is called Spectrum's standard internet service. Currently, that speed is 100 megabits per second downstream and 10 megabits per second upstream. But the package is supposed to track any changes to it that occur in the county. So in the first quarter of next year, they're talking about taking that Spectrum Select package and moving it to 200 megabits by 20. So that should happen, I'm guessing January, but it's safe to say it's going to occur in the first quarter. So yours will track what everybody else gets in that same service level. You can still upgrade speeds on your own. You know, today you can go from 100 to 200 and pay it, you know, an incremental difference to, you know, to get the faster speeds, but it should be more than adequate.
Is that the middle range or is that the low range, the 100?
It's probably now on, it's, it is on the in terms of Spectrum, it's their standard packet, so it is their slower speed. The next level is 400 megabits per second, and they're going up close to a gig per second. And, you know, it's really depending on what you're doing. How many devices do you have in your home? That's one of the biggest drivers of speed, because this one's taking so much and this one's there. You don't have a lot of devices. If you have 5 or 6 devices and you're in 100 megabits per second, you're going to be fine. You should be not having any issues. Because more things are dependent on the internet, like Microsoft Office, you used to have a disk and you load it in your computer and you all work locally. Well, now it's in the cloud, so you're using a lot more internet. So it's things like that. It's you know, stoves where you can push a button and the recipe displays on the surface of the stove, and the, you know, all the gadgets, the TVs that are in the, you know, the refrigerators, you know, the Internet of Things, if you will. So it's Spectrum's intent to track progress, track, you know, technology that is more speed is required, that they're going to shift to it. And again, if anybody's doing a home business and they're streaming up a website, which they probably shouldn't be doing, and they need faster speeds, then they can make arrangements individually. I think you were paying I think the $20 is to double your speed, if you will, if you want to pay that on your own.
That's incremental charge.
Okay. Did you say not to talk about an individual circumstance?
Well, the thing, if we try to adjudicate everybody's issues that they're having with Spectrum, because we're going to get into what's going on behind the scenes with what's going on with your personal homes and things like that. But if we did that, Bob, we'd be here until the cows come home. So just bear with us. If we haven't covered it, then hit us with it, okay? Thank you. All right. Go ahead, Doug. You got it.
Well, the question she had was, what's the difference between a modem and a router? Because the Q&A talks about that. And basically, the router is what allows you to have wireless service. It's the simplest way to think about it. A modem is basically it's a modulator, and it allows you to have a hardline connection to the internet. You plug your computer in, and it talks to the network, and the network talks back to it. But it's not wireless. Your phone won't see it or anything. So you add the router. It's like a radio. Simply a radio, so that your phone and your tablet and your laptop and everything can communicate with the modem. Is that clear? Pretty clear? What's interesting to know, with Spectrum, they used to give out, and some folks may have them, a combined unit that has both the modem and the router in it, so they only have one device. Well, Spectrum stopped doing that. Spectrum now issues either a modem and a router, so there's 2 separate pieces of equipment. And I think it was a matter of cost. So because they were spending all this money on a modem router, and a lot of people weren't using their router side of the modem, they're spending more money than they had to. So they're saying, okay, those people that don't want wireless, we'll give them a modem. And those people that want both, get both units, the modem and the router. Okay. In the Q&A, it talks about how to get your equipment. So if you just want an additional set-top box, they have a method for you to call in and get a self-install kit, and they'll mail it to you. But ironically, they won't do that with the modem or the router. You've actually got to go down to the office on State Route 64, and there's a pretty good wait there. The parking lot, to be honest with you, is full. There's chairs they have sitting outside the office. They have you come in just like a restaurant. They move pretty quickly, fortunately. They'll take your name, have you sit, you might wait for 15, 20 minutes more from what I've seen. And then you go up and tell them, you know, who you are, where you live, what you're there for, and make sure that if you don't have internet, that you request a modem and a router, because you're entitled to both with your bulk service. If you have internet today and you have your own router that you're using for wireless, you can continue to do so, or you can request the Spectrum router. So if you don't have wireless and you have internet, you gotta go to State Route 64 and request a router. And the box is pretty easy to hook up. I understand that the router and the internet's not difficult with directions, and I know there's savvy people in the community here that would probably be more than willing to help get that connected.
Is there any advantage to their separate equipment versus the combo equipment that we have now?
Well, today, no, but I believe they're going to move into a platform where utilizing the Spectrum router might be necessary. I don't have definitive information, but today it's whatever you have is being grandfathered. And if you have the Spectrum modem and router, of course, that's just going to convert over to your bulk service. If you have what's called an Echo access point, that's where you've got the modem and router over here in this room, but it doesn't work so well in that part of the house, so they added another little device they call an access point. So that's grandfathered in, that will stay. If you have a whole home DVR where you can record everything on one unit and then you can view it from other rooms with what's called the slave unit, those are grandfathered in until such time that they either break or they no longer support them. They're trying to roll out what's called the World Box 2. They're having a lot of technical issues with that. But there's a lot of focus now from the corporate level on getting that corrected and getting that platform rolled out to folks. If you have enhanced DVR, your 8-tuner DVR, or 6-tuner DVR rather, you can keep that again till it breaks or they stop supporting it. When they go to their whole home platform, they'll stop supporting those DVRs. Today, the DVR that they have, the digital video recorder, is said to be a 2-channel device, which is not good when you're coming from having a 6-channel recorder to a 2-channel recorder when you're trying to record 2 football games and the wife wants to watch something else. You know what I mean? It's kind of tough to do. But I do understand from some folks that they go in and get the Spectrum DVR and they bring it home and they're finding out that it has 4 channels that they can record simultaneously, even though Spectrum states it's only 2. Who knows what the logic is behind that, but that's just the way they do things. And one more comment I'll get to you. And then on the whole home, it's supposed to be an 8-channel device, which is more than I don't know anybody has time to watch all that stuff, but there's 8 channels that will be capable of. You had a question?
The boxes that we have now, that we can keep those?
You can keep those.
Those will work?
Yes, everything. What you don't have to exchange any equipment. You can keep what you have. Really what you're in the phase of now is adding what you don't have, which is another box, or the internet, or the router for the wireless service. Did anybody here get a free box, quote unquote, for the digital transition? Okay. That's a confusion. What they did is when you got the letter, they said that, hey, if you only have one box, you may qualify for a free box for, it says, for the period of your current service agreement, or 1 year, whichever comes first, basically. They're very inconsistent in how they're applying that policy. I think your moose is double parked.
No, but the hounds are coming.
The queen is calling.
Sorry about that.
So anyways, the way that works, and again, it's very inconsistent in my understanding of how they're applying that. But because the language in the letter says that you're entitled to that free box up until your existing bulk agreement expires, really think of it as coming November 1st, it's not free anymore. But your bulk has 2, so if it's only your second box, it doesn't matter. You're covered anyways. If you have more than 2 boxes, you have a third. I'm sure you're renting a box is about $8 right now with Legacy Bright House. The rate with Spectrum is $6.99, so they'll begin direct billing you for any boxes above 2 come November 1st. But what they're doing wrong is for some people, even though their new bulk is implemented, they're still not charging them for that box they got during the digital transition. So some people now have 2 in their bulk plus the 1 box free for a year, so they end up with 3 boxes, where other people, it depends on who you talk to. I mean, it's kind of ridiculous, it's inconsistent. So that's why I always say, just think of it as free until the end of October, if you got one, and then you got, you know, the 2 boxes included in the bulk service. So, yes.
I know I'm late, maybe you
That's
already
okay.
covered it, but I had called originally when the paperwork came in to find out whether or not I had to pick up something or do something to get this. And she said, no, you do nothing if you have a box. Okay, there's a box there, yeah. And I said, and I have a TV on one side of the room, and in the other room that backs up to it, I have another one, and they're co-joined there. So I said, I won't need any more than one more, I think, for the guest room that has a TV.
Right.
So now, I guess that's what I need. I'm just kind of confirming.
Yes.
Is that what?
Every television needs a box when you lose your program.
Yeah, there's nothing coming on there.
Yeah, so you know, you have 2 options, because you can go to the Spectrum office and you're entitled to that box, and they'll give it to you. And come November 1st, your bulk will cover it, because you're entitled to 2 boxes under the bulk service, and you're done. Or you can wait until November 1st and call in and tell them that you want, you know, a box sent to you. It's now part of your bulk service. So either way, you're going to get a box.
Sorry, you probably already covered all this.
The key is that what we're trying for you to avoid is truck rolls. Okay, so if you have the capability to go pick up the box or boxes or whatever at the Spectrum office, do so. If you don't have the talent or the skill set to install it, we've got that covered here. Okay, Jim Sell will be doing the installation of your set-top boxes and your HDMI and programming the remote when it has to be done at $10 per unit. Okay, so that's going to be a considerable savings right there. Spectrum is getting away from free truck rolls. Okay, they're trying to do everything automated, and it's not really working very well on their part. So,
but again, you can call in and have them mail you the box. The only time you have to go to the office is if you need to get a modem or a router.
Now, one of the things that was brought up, Doug, and I have some folks that were out of town that won't be here. Can they have the boxes mailed to another resident in their name and care of?
You know, I don't know the answer to that. That would be a question for Spectrum. I never considered that angle. So you can call and ask them, because there has to be, you know how you have to sign a work order when you get a piece of equipment?
Someone has.
There has to be something evidencing receipt of it, so if it's not returned, then they have a right to assess a fee for lost equipment. So my guess is that probably won't work unless the person signing for the equipment is willing to take responsibility in case you lose it or an insurance claim happens. So I'm guessing that they may not. The other part of it is when you get back, you can do this. Remember that the boxes are included in your bulk service. They're included for the entire term of the agreement. So even if you don't get your box 6 months from now, you're still entitled to your box. Doesn't matter.
And this agreement's for 5 years, correct?
This is 7 years.
7 year contract.
When you
Conversation I had with Mark DeMasi, who is Spectrum, felt that, at least I got the impression, that you had to be the person or the owner to get the box.
And that would make the most amount of sense. Yeah.
Because we were even talking about having them come here.
Right.
People, you know, for ease, but he said can't do it.
Yeah.
Okay, Tom.
Word of advice on the modem. Well, if you get a modem for them, you're going to have them set it up for you, because there's going to be a certain code you have to have underneath the box so that they know what box it is. I had to get a new one last summer, and I couldn't find out it didn't work, but I had to call them to tell them this is the new modem, and I had to give them the number underneath
the MAC address.
The MAC address. So remember that if you get a new modem from that, because you're going to have to call them.
Yeah, it's kind of like if you've got a new cell phone, it sends you home with instructions, and it says, want you to do all these things, then you punch a number in or they call you. It's the same thing. It'll give you a sheet. It'll tell you to, plug it into your computer, then dial this phone number, and on the bottom of the box is a sticker, And it literally says like Big Mac, it says MAC, it's an address, a MAC address. They'll say, what is that number? And if you can see it, then you can tell what it is.
Okay, I have another question. When you call them, what do you tell them? This is Wildwood Springs bulk agreement?
Yeah, did you see at the back of the script?
The script is attached to the,
Yeah, I wrote a script that goes with the Q&A. It says exactly what to say.
Okay, because when I called to get that extra box, when they changed over, they had no clue who I was or where I was, and we can't find you, and we don't know anything about this.
Now, yeah, that's an important point though, because they have three groups, if you will. They have a group in their call centers that handles residential customers, but not bulk residential customers. They're just non-bulk customers. Then they have a group, a call center that was just put in place this year that handles only bulk communities. Because it was very frustrating for what you just explained for a bulk customer to get up in the residential group who doesn't know how to handle it. And then the third group they have is business, of course, which is a separate group.
Well, I called this number and I got the automated system, and I never could get to nobody.
Yeah, it's really hard.
you're right.
So I was afraid maybe I couldn't call until November 1st.
What I was just talking to Doug about before, and I spoke with Mark DeMasi about this last week. This 800 number that you have is correct. It's you get the automated voice and welcome to Spectrum. What's your phone number? We record it to our record. What do you want to do? How can we help you? That's an automated system. And when I called it, I did a test. I did the test on October 2nd. And I said, I told them who I was, what's going to happen on November 1st, because they had no clue. All right, they had no clue what was going on. They had no idea. But the best thing they could tell me was that on November 1st, call them back. But I had questions about the phone, because the landline is no longer bundled. Your landline is no longer bundled with Spectrum. It's a separate billing altogether. One of the questions I had is the $19.95 a month charge for a landline, is that promotional or is that a set rate? And that question they did answer was that that's a set rate, okay? So they're not going to give you 12 months, and then after 12 months, it's going to increase to $25.95. It's
So
going to
this-
stay at $12.95 for the landline, regardless.
This that we're getting doesn't include a landline.
Right. This does not include landline.
So you will get that charge.
Spectrum's getting away from the landline business. If you see on your TV, you'll see advertisements for Spectrum mobile. They're going into the mobile aspect of it, which isn't a bad deal, but I still stay with consumer cellular. I mean, that's what I use. But that's the scenario. I told Doug this when he got here, that they had no clue that there is a new contract coming up. And that this 855-220-102 is your phone, your menu, automated menu traffic.
Let me just comment on the reason for that timing, then I've got you've got a question there. Their billing system, when they generate your personal bill, it actually runs home to mama, if you will. It looks at the bulk master account and it says, oh, what's in the master? Oh, we have to subtract that off Mrs. Jones' bill because it's part of the bulk. So that's how it works. But until that master is activated with the new services, which is November 1st, it wouldn't get the information right. That's why they say you can't call till November 1st, because they won't understand how the billing's supposed to work for you. They also don't want to release information prematurely in case a rep decides to go in and try to set you up, because it'll go into the wrong bulk master, it'll charge you for the internet, it'll charge you for the, so that's why October 1st is important.
November 1st.
Excuse me, November 1st. There must have been something for that. Yeah. What was I going to say on the other point there? If you call, because we say in the Q&A everybody must call, and I think I've explained before, I thought that was going to be an absolute nightmare.
Exactly.
Properties complaining, and I've transitioned probably 10 communities this year. I haven't had one complaint. I've even contacted board members, say, have you hear anything? Not a sound. No complaints from anybody. So it actually works out well, because now they can look at your account and say, oh, you have an older, yeah, you have internet, but you have an older modem and that modem's not capable of 100 megabits, you need to come down and swap one out. So, you know, they make sure they look at your stuff, that you have the equipment that you need, and then they can tell you, you know, what your billing will be. And then if people are on seasonal, maybe they might have internet on seasonal, you don't have to come November 1st. So they can go over their options on, should you terminate it early, you know, what should you do? So it's better that they have that, you know, individual call, so.
Okay, we have 2 units, so I'm assuming each one is allowed 2 boxes.
Yes.
Silly question, but they gave us 3 boxes, or, well, they actually gave us 2, because we had one for our home unit. And then we happened to mention we had a 3rd television in our home unit, and he said, oh, do you want another box? And he said that it's good until your service contract runs out or whatever. Is it address related, or can we use that, because we won't have 2 units in our upstairs extra condo. We only need 1. Can we continue to use that 3rd one in our home unit?
Well, there's 2 different questions. They're address related in terms of the way Spectrum sees the boxes. Technically speaking, because those units are in close proximity, it would work. These set-top boxes talk back to the node, and if that's a set-top box that's not within the node that serves where you live, it'll shut down. So it knows if somebody takes a box and lends it to their family member, so they can watch HBO, the box will shut off.
Right.
So yeah, best answer is you get 2 boxes per address.
Okay.
The units are up there downstairs, there's not an issue.
Irrelevant. Yeah, because the node is serving both.
Kitty corner, okay. So we should technically be able to use that 3rd box, or the 2nd box from our 2nd unit?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Another thing that's been going on, people have been getting the new type boxes, and to put it what the new type box is, it's the one without the clock on it. Okay? That's a new box. It's smaller. There's been issues with that. I've been getting phone calls and I've been getting comments about them. It's a new product. Like anything else, there's bugs in them. Okay? So again, if it doesn't work, get it back to them.
Yeah, that's the World Box 2.
World Box 2.
Yeah, and Spectrum's aware of it at the corporate level, and all the trade journals, you can see that they're addressing that. One day they'll get it, and then once they get it, it'll be great to have. There's a lot of, you know, benefits to have.
What problems are you showing them?
They don't work, or they'll drop out. They'll drop out, or there'll be pixelation on it.
Yeah, I've had that too.
Okay, now a lot of the issues, as explained to me by tech support field service reps that come, and I talk to them all the time because I have them to the house all the time checking on different things. A lot of the issues that can resolve it is the fitting. It's as simple as the fitting could just have a little nick in the copper wire that goes right down the center of that coaxial cable. It's just that tiniest little nick, and it'll pixelate your TV, and you're not going to get a good signal off the box. That's how sensitive they are. Okay. That being said, there's so many issues going on this property alone with pedestals, hub boxes, cables being chewed on by the wildlife that we have here, the cables that are supposed to be buried in the ground. We've addressed that. We've addressed it with Mark DeMasi, who is our account manager for bulk here on this property, through John Marino? John Marino, who is in charge of all the infrastructure for our area. We've addressed it. We let him know. Mark DeMasi had asked me when John was down in Mexico sitting on a beach with a tequila in his hand. Wasn't it? Everybody, that the issues are there. They know about the issues and they're being addressed. With the new transfer from analog to digital, they're running behind on their maintenance schedules, getting things done. John, Mark DeMasi asked me if I would see where the problems are. And I said, Mark, we're already ahead of you. I sent the maintenance crew out. They identified every pedestal, every hub box, every cable that's laying above ground and what unit it's going to or what unit it's outside of. It's all been identified, the spreadsheet is set up for them to come in. Now, the thing of it was, I asked, okay, let's keep Murphy out of play. How long? And the answer wasn't good to me, which is not going to be good to you. They were saying 6 to 8 weeks after the 1st of November. That's how far back they are because of the transition from analog to digital and this world product that they're trying to roll out. The other issues are, and there's going to be, I'm sure, we're going to hear it with the Spectrum TV app. How many use the Spectrum TV app? Oh, wow.
How many knows what it is?
Yeah. Okay.
Is that what
Spectrum
you use for your
TV app
Roku?
is an app that is an application that is provided by Spectrum themselves to certain providers. And the certain providers would be a Samsung Smart TV, Roku streaming devices. Okay. What's been going on is that app, you can view the TV programming on the app, but what happens is a lag time from live TV to what you're streaming by a couple of seconds. Okay. What's going on is the app is not as stable as it should be. And you'll get, all of a sudden, you'll start viewing fuzziness, and then you'll get error messages, you'll get error SLP 1007, or you'll have RLP 1035. Those are error messages about the instability of the app. The reason behind that is the engineers, the guys that they keep in the basement. All right, they let them out once a week for about an hour's worth of sun, and they're the ones that have the pocket protectors. There was 3 groups of engineers when the Spectrum TV app was created back in December 6, 2016, I think. That they had Spectrum, they had Bright House, and they had Time Warner engineers working together on a specific TV app that you can stream. They didn't anticipate the fact that everybody wants to cut the cord. You see that commercial, cut the cord, cut the cord. So the servers that provide the signal to your television, and I'm trying to put it in simple layman's terms, was not enough room on the servers. So they have to regenerate and rebuild and add 2 servers. And that's what the problem is now with that particular application. Okay? The corporate that Doug was mentioning about the World 2 project that's coming out, they're on the engineers' butts to get it up and running because this World 2 is going to be based on the amount of service space that they have to provide the service to the customers. Are we on the same page? So, if you have a smart TV, Samsung, who has a smart TV? Okay, you know that little button that you push on it, it says Smart TV or Smart Hub. You can look for your apps on it. Look for the Spectrum TV app. Install it onto your TV. Use the login information that you have, your email and your password, and that app is going to show up. Okay, and those on for folks that don't want to go for a 3rd box or 5 boxes. It's a good device to have, either on that or a Roku device.
Yeah, and it works on your phone. I mean, I can actually turn it
You
on.
can do it on your phone or you can do a computer.
Yeah.
Sure.
It works on your computer.
Yeah.
How come it works great with Roku but not with Fire Stick?
Fire Stick, see? Amazon Fire Stick did not come in and grease the palms that they needed to grease the palms to do. Basic.
Okay.
Okay? Roku did,
You do have to log in.
Samsung did. I'm not so sure about Sony or LG. I'm not, because I'm a Samsung guy. Sony's got the, okay. I'm just a Samsung guy. I just love that product. I never have. Yes, ma'am.
Well, this hasn't anything to do with an app, but my set comes on, takes forever to come on. Is it just my sets or?
Mine too. Mine takes forever.
Yeah, once you turn it on, used to, I'd turn the TV on.
Most
and
of
everything.
the smart TVs don't turn on very quickly. I mean, I'll turn mine on, and it's about a 30-second lag before the TV itself, nothing to do with the cable. And I think it's just a matter of the make, model, age of the set.
Well, I probably do just my sets. But
How old is your TV?
They're smarter than I am.
2 years.
Smart TV?
2 years, I think, yeah.
They're on your, just for conversation, on your remote for that TV, you might want to go into the menus, go into the settings, go into update, to update your TV. That could be an issue. If you haven't updated your TV in a period of time, that could be the issue, okay? I'm getting off track here. I'm sorry.
You get 100 megabits per second to the wall. Once you go through that router, you're not going to, they can't guarantee you getting 100 wireless.
Correct.
Is that right?
Correct.
So
wireless speeds are always slower than hardline.
Right. So is there any devices out there that you can buy that would increase that router speed?
And if they're all, we
Well,
want to get two.
First of all, your router is going to have 2 channels. You're going to have 5G and 2.4. So 5 is a much faster speed, but it has a smaller proximity.
Right.
You're going to be closer to it. And then 2.4 can go a lot further, but it's slower. So I tell you, the best things I've seen is you go on to YouTube and you see some of these engineers that go and they work with tinfoil and they do these things, and it increases their speeds and they prove it. And they're just doing it on their own, you know, these setup. But there's nothing out there commercially available other than multi-array routers with multiple antennas. I don't really think that works, because it's all has to do with it's traveling fast enough through the airwaves. It's the throughput of the router because of RF signals. So
One thing that people should be aware of is if you inherited your laptop from your son 10 years ago, it's not necessarily going to work very well.
no, the other part is the speed of the device that you're using, and then there's different, you know, G and N and different router types. At least the router type you get from Spectrum has the fastest level of service that you can get.
All right, now I guess we can get into some issues that, Bob, you had some.
I don't know if I got any issues or not, but.
Oh, yeah, I know you have issues.
Well, of course.
We're talking about Spectrum.
I spent the night in the bathroom over there. Okay. Okay, now, I recently got a bill for a notification from Bright House that my prices were going to be increased. And so they gave me a special promo to go over to Spectrum. Okay, so I've now got better pricing. This has been going on now probably 3, maybe 4 months. For what I pay, the personal part that I pay. And I have the Echo system, whose router belongs to whoever it is, Bright House or Spectrum, that they maintain, or said that they would maintain if something goes wrong with it. I also have 2 of the boxes that record multiple TV stations each, as well as my internet and phone. Now, is this saying to me I don't have to do anything but the phone as far as telling them anything?
Yeah, because any service you have, for example, you have the 2 enhanced DVRs.
Right.
They're going to see that, and they're just going to simply convert them to whatever pricing. Your pricing won't change on those because it's Bright House equipment.
Okay.
But really, the only thing you have to worry about, you don't have to worry about anything. You just need to call them. You already got internet. You already have phone. You already have all your equipment. Just make the phone call. They're going to say, you're all set, probably. But their position is that people will continue to get billed for their additional services, so you can see your internet today, until you make the call to Spectrum. But that does not mean if you call on the 15th or the 30th that you're going to have paid for the month of November, because they retroactively credit you to the 1st. Even if you call on the 20th, I'm making my phone call from Wildewood Springs, they'll put your bill to the 1st of the month. So,
Okay.
Okay, so.
Call you back.
Sure, it's gonna be 200 500 and some odd
Yeah.
calling.
But the phone, is the phone rate gonna be, I mean, is that a good rate for the phone?
Yeah, the phone's a
Okay.
great rate, yeah, it's $19.99, and you already have a modem, so your modem's gonna basically be an MTA, where you can handle telephone and internet.
Okay.
Where other modems, where people don't have phone service, will just be internet.
Is your modem stands up?
Yeah, it's vertical.
And it has telephone line one, you're good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You're
you're all,
There's
you're not gonna have to do anything.
They put that in when I got the Echo.
Echo, right, which
Yeah.
is the access point.
Yeah.
And you won't be charged for that anymore.
Okay.
Now,
Well, you're paying a rental fee now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so but that Echo access point you'll continue to be billed for.
Okay, but
Yeah.
the rest of it will be right into the program, into the new system.
Yeah, you're not gonna pay for, well, you don't now, for the internet, modem has always been included. Your router has been $5 because of the wireless.
Yeah.
So that goes away, that $5 charge.
Okay.
Internet's about $60.
Yeah.
For most people, that $60 charge goes away for you. An additional set-top box has been $8. That $8 charge goes away for you. And, you know,
third, right? If you get a third, it's gonna be $60.
well, if you today have two and you're renting one, and then you get one free, you're not renting it anymore. That's what I'm saying. So that $8 charge that you're paying for rental of that additional box, you'll still pay for the third, fourth, fifth, sixth, you know, what have you, after two boxes. We went and looked at a big community and had a whole bunch of people send bills in and got with Spectrum when we analyzed all these bills. What this person say is that it was about $64 per home that the people were paying directly, mostly because of the internet. And you have the majority of your folks here are been paying retail rates for internet service.
Yeah.
I'm paying for a sports package now. Is that gonna be included? Will that be separate? Will that be in?
That'll probably go away. So if you look at the Platinum lineup, you may find a lot of the sports channels that you're looking at are included in your bulk service now. So, and that's a clarifying question you would want to ask when you call them.
Okay.
But if it's not a service that's out, because remember, you're moving, you're not going to be on any of Bright House Network's products and pricing except for hardware, like an Echo access point. But as far as the video service, all the video service that you can receive is the video service that Spectrum offers, not that's part of Bright House from before. So if the sports package isn't there, you can't get it. But like I said, it's a very robust lineup, especially the digital too, with the sports service.
And we don't know at this point if the apps are gonna be able to pick up the platinum programming yet. That's yet to be determined. But I understand when I spoke to Nicole at customer service that Cleveland Indians are not included.
Well, we gotta cancel this.
Nor the Big Ten Network.
Oh, well, we definitely gotta cancel it.
What can you do?
There's a second box gonna line up with the first box, or does it have to
Okay,
be called in? and set
November
up?
10th.
It's automatic.
Yeah, it should be automatic.
They should, it would just split her off of the first one.
Well,
It works great.
no,
Thanks.
so no, it's gonna be independent. So if you have one box right now, and you have a second
Two
TV,
25s? Yeah, we do 225s.
so if you have a second outlet,
Okay.
it's that
I'm
second
gonna do
wire
it
that's
right now. I'll tell you
independent
right now.
goes to that second box. You can split them, there's no reason to do that. But each TV should have an independent outlet, wire coming from the wall to the box of the TV, and the same with a different location, you know, wall to the
Okay,
box of the
when I
TV.
set up the first one, called it in, you know, got the blue screen and all that stuff, and went through it and all that. Nothing worked, so out comes a guy 3 or 4 days later. First thing he does was check something, and then he takes the box away and puts it in the truck and brings a new one in.
Right, that's it is for me too.
Yeah.
So,
In other words, this stuff is kind of junky, but every other one works or something.
Yeah, they have equipment failures. All the cable operators are dealing with the same vendors.
The second thing is I have constant problems. If I want to put in 41, I'll get 441 or 411 all the time.
Is there a channel 41?
No.
Oh,
Yes,
so-
whatever happens.
Because otherwise it
Make any
skips
of the
it.
numbers, I don't care what it is, I'll still, the thing that you click doesn't.
Well, the good news, everyone, just like before, Bright House Networks or Spectrum service is free except for those perpetual gardeners that keep cutting their drops, you know, that kind of stuff, or pouring coffee in the set-top
So some of it's
box.
kind of junky, really.
Yeah, it depends. I mean,
The
I've had some of
boxes
my
apparently
equipment.
got
I've had my equipment. I haven't changed anything up for almost 10 years.
Do not throw
I
the
took
remote.
care of you.
Do not throw a remote against the wall and expect it to continue to work. I tell you, it does not work.
Even if it didn't work to begin
Now
with.
watch it come.
Yeah, that's why
I just wanted to say, this deal sounds terrific to me, and I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
The little, you know, the increase quarterly is nothing compared to the monthly savings. The vast majority of us are likely to appreciate, and I just wanted to thank all of whoever was responsible in any way, so thank you very much.
What we're trying to do is, really trying to do, is to avoid all the hiccups and speed bumps along the way. Yes, being realistically, Murphy's gonna come into play. Doug's been in the business a long time. I learned quite a bit. John knows a lot about it. I've been on tech support. One of the things we did find out, I found out, is that if you have a TV where there is no set-top box or no outlet, let's say, a cable outlet, and you want to have your TV there, you want to have your set-top box there, and your wife finally made up her mind to say, that's what I want, I'm not going to move it anymore. Ever. Well then, what they will do is they'll come out, they will install a outlet, a cable outlet for that set-top box, and that's going to cost $39 per outlet. And the discounted truck roll fee, remember we talked about the truck roll fee, was $49.95. Well, they're going to discount that, because we're bulk rate customers, to $34. So for one outlet, this ballpark is about $80 to have an outlet installed. Okay, that's got to come out of your pocket. That's not going to be part of the bulk rate. So I want you to understand that. If you have two set-top boxes that your wife wants to have put in, I'm speaking from experience. Excuse me, lady. Part of the yaya sisterhood. Then what they suggest is have it done on the same day, because that's going to save you a few bucks on the truck roll fee.
And then just to jump onto that, for example, you don't want to install, you decide you don't want to install your own internet. So you can have them come out and professionally install it and professionally install the router. They will charge you the $49.95 truck roll fee. They may even charge you the $34.99 instead. But if you need boxes, request them at the same trip. They only charge one truck roll fee, and everything they do is covered under that truck roll fee except for their cost of that.
And one of the field technicians, his name is Miguel. He's from Brooklyn. He loves meatball sandwiches. He can be bought.
Hey, Jim, one more thing that they were talking about. If you're going to change an outlet and it involves what they call wall fishing, that could be an additional charge.
Yeah.
And so in other words, if you have it run along below the carpet line or something like that, there's not going to be that extra charge of fishing it down.
Fishing it down now. But for the upstairs units, forget about it. There's no crawl space up there to do it. Downstairs units, you got to pretty much feel the same way. There's no way they could actually fish that through. Steve, you were an electrician at one time. It's tough to do, isn't it? Because you got to find where the studs are, and then when you got vertical studs and you got horizontal studs, they're not going to be able to drill through.
It could be that they run into cases where they're 100% unable to add an outlet. Because I think over the years we've run into that occasionally.
How many folks have amplifiers in their unit? Signal amplifiers? Nobody? Okay. If you do, leave them alone. Don't mess with them. It just increases your signal. That's all I have. Does anybody else have anything?
One quick one.
Sure, Chris.
I currently am paying an HD fee. Is that going to go away?
That goes away. That goes away. There's no other charge like it used to be. HD box, HD programming. That goes away. You don't have that anymore.
So I have a question. So just generally speaking, most people are going to say probably like $30, would you say,
If they
I
don't
think-
have internet, do you mind if I try?
Go right ahead.
If they don't have internet and they have two boxes, when you do the math, they're simply gonna save $8 on that second box.
Okay.
And really, that's the impact that they would see. It's the folks that have the internet, which is the majority, I think we saw is over 80% here,
80%.
are gonna be saving $59.95 plus $5 if they have wireless. So it's almost 65, plus now the box that they're not having to pay for,
So,
that
okay,
$8.
so it's more than 30. It's
Yeah,
like
that's-
75.
Well, again, for the majority.
We're having a party and everybody's gonna be asking me this
Yeah.
Saturday, so I want to have facts.
And then, that's an important point too, though, the folks that don't have internet today, maybe they didn't have it because they didn't want to spend $60 on it.
You're right.
But for $10 and change,
Yeah.
which is your
We're
incremental.
spending it now anyway.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're gonna
so
get
now
charged.
it makes sense, and you really do, the way the world is, you really do need to
Might
have.
as well get it.
Everybody gets this, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
There's
everybody.
no opting out. It's
Everybody.
everybody.
They can opt out, but they still have to pay
They
for
still,
it.
Okay. Still pay the 10.
Yeah.
exactly, you still pay for your association fee.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Keep in mind, it does make a difference of how many boxes you have.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm getting my box for free for 1 year, 2019. Because I got it in writing when I took my box. I don't know, because I did it 2 weeks, I did it before. And before all this changeover came with this, I took it and I said, hey, wait a minute, we're changing, does this count? It absolutely does. You've already got it in writing before they made this agreement. So you might want to reach out and say, hey, if you've got any other agreements. That's what they told me. And they were very nice about it. Actually, I called 2 days ago. I was on the phone with the lady, hey, am I calling too early? She said, nope, 5 minutes, boom, I was done. I knew how much less I was going to pay, knew exactly what I'm getting. I was very impressed on how well
When
they
did you
dealt
make
with it.
your call?
I made my call October,
Second or something.
I made mine October 1st at 9:15 a.m. speaking with Nicole. Now, I'm a technical geek. I like technology.
Well, did you ask for a text?
No, I spoke with, that's,
You don't get to do a text right away.
I spoke with,
Customer service rep.
this was a customer service rep. Right now, I'm paying for internet, I'm paying for landline, I'm paying for the DVR at $133 a month. With this new deal, my bill is going down, even though I'm gonna be paying for landline now, I'm gonna be paying $43.
Oh, my gosh. See.
But then, I only have the one DVR. I stream, I use Roku, I jailbreak Fire Sticks and all kinds of weird stuff. But I'm gonna get the boxes, because I'm entitled to 2 boxes. I'm gonna keep them there in case later on down the road, I'm gonna say, maybe I'm gonna put the box in, break down and spend a couple of bucks. All right.
How much of the DVRs? Those aren't
Okay,
included, right?
DVRs, they're not expensive at all. The DVRs are $6.99 for the box charge and a $12.95 service fee.
Now that is again for the Spectrum box. If you only have a, enhanced DVR or DVR with Legacy Bright House, it's the same fees, so it's a little bit less. But if you have a whole home DVR, which is about 24,
Yeah, 24.
that charge doesn't change. That's not gonna move, it's gonna continue with that.
So that's both of those charges each month? The 6 and the 12?
Yes. So they're gonna rent you the equipment, and then they have a service fee, it's the DVR service fee, which is $12.95.
And that's per month, both of those, so it'd be like
Per
$20 a month.
Per month, yeah.
And voice is $19.99. Let's go with Leslie, she was first.
If you currently have a DVR box, do you have to get a new one?
No.
Okay.
No, they're gonna grandfather in existing DVRs, existing Echo access points until such time as they break or they're no longer supported.
I had a question. Does anybody have a copy of the channels listing you can read?
Catherine does. Catherine and I had this conversation yesterday.
You can't read that thing.
We had a conversation yesterday because the channel lineup.
I put on my printer.
It's changed.
The channel lineup, yes, it has. The channel lineup that you have is one piece of paper back to back that comes from Spectrum.
Yeah.
Catherine created a 6-page channel
Okay,
lineup
good.
that increased the font on the size of the font.
But that's not gonna be till November 1st, right?
Well, I just sent her that there was a revision to their channel lineups this month So I just got it yesterday at 3 o'clock, and the first thing I did is send it to Catherine. What she's done with it, I haven't had time to talk to her, so I don't know.
Yeah, I did, and it's kind of a follow-up to Leslie's. That was part of my question, is could we, if we have it already, did you have to do anything? But you commented that until it's no longer supported, will they advise us, or is someday it just gonna stop?
I would hope they'd advise you.
Yeah.
I would hope they know, because they can see in their billing system who has an enhanced DVR. So then they send a letter to everybody that has an enhanced DVR, and they send it out to them. You notice if you turn your TV on now, you get that Barker channel that talks about the digital transition channel 1998. So what they'll do is they'll put that Barker on enhanced DVRs. So when people turn on that DVR, it'll say your DVR service will discontinue working. We're going to do this, ABC, whatever they do. So they've got different ways to communicate what they're going to do for you.
Okay, one more question on the DVR. You said that DVRs were going to be grandfathered, but that doesn't mean they're going to be included in the price.
Correct. They're not
It just means you're
included.
going to keep
Yeah,
it.
and you know what? That's another point we need to clarify, because we've done it in the past here. Bright House's network's agreement allowed you to pick one box, and you could either pick an HD set-top box or you could pick a DVR box. And the logic was because they both cost the same. It's $8. And actually, I had an argument with the vice president of our division that caused them to offer the DVR box, because it made no sense to not. But Spectrum will not. So if your one box that you've chosen is a DVR and not a regular set-top box, and you don't return it, they're going to start billing you for that DVR. Because what you're entitled to are 2 HD boxes, not a DVR. Okay? Yeah, digital video recorder. Yeah.
Like I said, if we have any, we expect some hiccups down the road. But according to what Doug was saying, there's been 10 other properties that you've done that they just a smooth transition. Just pick up the phone, call them. They are very helpful and they're very knowledgeable when you get to speak with the Spectrum people, especially tech support. You know.
Isn't Spring Lakes already doing this?
Ma'am, we don't mention Spring Lakes or Wildewood too. We got enough to deal with.
I just wondered
with
what their
Wildwood Spring.
transition was like.
We got enough to deal with 558 owners.
Anybody that transitioned in the first quarter of this year had a nightmare.
Yeah.
An absolute nightmare. Because I did Lakewood Ranch Country Club West, and they called in, and there was no bulk call center. There was just a catch-all. And the people would say, I have no idea what you're talking about. And it was a nightmare. So what resulted from that nightmare was conversations with the customer support people at the corporate level, which resulted in the bulk call center that's not in Wakamatahitsu, it's in Riverview.
Oh,
So you're talking, it's local people that know what they're talking about, and that's made all the difference.
So that's this number that you have
That's
highlighted?
correct.
Yeah.
And that's the number you called.
This thing about pixelization, we had it before the blue box.
Yes.
Now I find we got it after the new box. Who takes care of that? Who gets rid of it?
Tech support.
Yeah.
What you can do.
But you can't show it to them because you
Before, what you can do is can you reach the power cable?
Yeah.
Unplug the power cable from the set-top box for about 30
Take it off
seconds.
the back and put it in,
Wait 30 seconds, just put it back in. If that doesn't clear it up, call tech support and tell them that you have a pixelated problem. What will happen is they'll send a signal from tech support on their end to your box to try to resolve it. If they can't do it, if they can't do it, then they will send out a field service tech.
Thank you.
Anybody got anything else?
Thank
Anybody
you all.
got $2? I'm gonna go play the lottery.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so very, very much for your attention.